Hello everyone, Ace here, and I've decided to actually have a little bit more fun with FHSW thanks to the single player patch. Like I've said before in my previous video on this, it's an experimental patch, it's not officially supported, but nevertheless being able to play the single player part of the game again is a blast. Now, since my last video was the very end of the war, at least in Europe, why not actually do the earliest map for the European theater? So let's do Eastern Blitz. So yes, this is going to be a Poland versus Germany map. And it is quite fun, actually. I quite like this map. But, and you might be curious to know this, but yeah, FHSW does indeed even provide new experimental content for the Polish faction, which is quite an interesting change. But it does show you just how comprehensive the mod actually is. There's a lot of other stuff too, but we'll go ahead and let this map load. And as you are probably well aware, the mod is known for having lengthy load times. It's actually a lot better than how it used to be. I will say that. It used to be the load times could take, in my experience, back when I really was playing this, back in the days of 0.32 or something like that, you could expect 5-minute long load times, but it was still worth it, believe it or not, because of just how much stuff was in this thing. And ever since, they've of course been adding more and more to it. For example, after the latest release, which was 0.61, full-on release that came out, I think in 2017, there have been more map packs and whatnot, adding in completely new wars even. So, for example, there is I've looked at the maps, and there's at least 2 maps I've found that are Russo-Japanese War from 1904 to 1905, and one that's based on the Second Italo-Abyssinian War. So the Italian invasion of Ethiopia gets its own map too. Which is not something you see very often. But anyways, let's see if how much longer we have until the game will let us actually get into it. Shouldn't be too much longer, I wouldn't think. But it does do... here we go. And as I've mentioned before, I am, of course, using a sound and texture pack. Okay, so I want to see what I can actually pick up in here, vehicle-wise. So I do... it looks like that's either a 7 TP or a 14 TP. I think it's a 14. Let's find out. It is. So this is one of those prototype vehicles that the Polish get. And, okay, it's not that impressive, but the fact that even Poland, even smaller nations like Poland, do get some attention, getting new stuff like new SMGs and new tanks and new semi-auto rifles, is itself... Well, I do have to give him credit for that. This might also give me a good opportunity if I ever have to ditch this thing to show you some of the other stuff, like how the game actually handles, for example, the reloading animations for bolt-action rifles, which is another thing that the mod is pretty well known for. They introduced that back in version 0.5, which is something that very, very few other mods have actually been able to pull off. So, like I said, I cannot speak highly enough of this mod. It is that good. I believe, yep, here's the spawn point yep. We'll capture this, and I could stay in this, but I'm pretty sure that I get a new tank that spawns in here. Yep. I mean, you can actually, it's a TKS, and it's the 20mm version, which is, I really do like that little vehicle, tank destroyer. But since I've got the 14 TP, I'm going to go ahead and use this, see how it performs. You can see some Germans off in the distance. Without any armor support whatsoever, so this should be fairly easy. Okay, something's, I think, shooting at me. So there are 2 CPs here we do need to take. Although we already have the bleed on the Germans, so that is a good start. An AT rifle, and I can't get the gun low enough to hit him. Yeah, stand up for me. Make it easy. Okay, to capture this point, we basically have to go in here. Hopefully they do not steal the tank, but there is no guarantees that that won't happen, so going to have to hurry. I know he's there, but I need to take the point first. He hit me, but I was able to survive it, so I guess he must have... So that should spawn a new tank, which it did. And let's go ahead and see what we have over here. But they don't just have secret weapons, bizarrely enough. They also have a lot of... Oh, sorry! Yeah, anyways, as I was saying, they also have a lot of, well, early war stuff that didn't really see that much combat, but did exist. So I'm pretty sure that the M2, the American M2 light tank, for example, is in the mod, even though it saw hardly any combat. And I think the same is true for the M2 medium. Which were, of course, both the predecessors to the M3 Stuart and M3 Lee, respectively. Okay, so we got yet another tank. We have all of the CPs. This is going quite smoothly. You know what? I might actually want to try out that little tankette over there, so I am, since no one's taken it yet, I'm probably going to go ahead and do that. And just, there is some bad guys up there, but I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead, leave this, oop, that's an enemy tank. Anyways, I'm going to leave this little tank right here and take this thing. German BF-109. Now this version, there are 2 versions of the tankette TKS. There's this one with the 20 mil and the one with the MG. Now historically both were used, but the Poles only had a handful of these. But they did actually perform quite well from what I understand. Because their small size makes them very hard to hit, but they... I got hit by something, alright. An enemy 7 TP, so Germans must have captured one of our tanks. It's not the same that I had. So they clearly just took one of ours. So I'll go ahead and get the 14 TP again, and just use it against that guy. Now, he should only have a 37 mil compared to my 47, so there's that, aside from the other advantages that my tank has, being it should have thicker armor and things like... Ooh, a German car. Yeah, the AI is not perfect in this. I mean, it's A, an experimental patch that's not officially supported, and B, well, the mod itself, the FHSW expansion was, like I said, never really meant to do single player. It was kind of a thing where, here it is. So he can't actually punch through me, but, oh. So there's the enemy 7 TP dealt with. Now, historically speaking, the 7 TP itself, if I remember correctly, was actually inspired, or basically an improved variation of the Vickers 6-ton. And historically, it was one of the most successful tanks that the Polish actually had. The other, of course, like I've said, being the 20mm TKS. Alright, so we can go ahead, take this point right back off of them. Now they do have a base area where you can't cap, so we are going to have to bleed them out. We can't just cap them out, but... Hello. Well, I will say that the gun depression does not seem to be particularly good on either of these two tanks. They've taken another command post, but we'll take this one back off of them. Now, this, of course, being the engineer kit, I have access to repair wrench, rifle, and some satchel charges that I can set to either a 10-second. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, I should have seen that coming. Well, I could take this little transport thing and chase after him, but that's probably not going to end well, so I guess I'll just go ahead and capture this point, see what kind of tanks I can... They're still... okay, so they are... They did take the northern one, the northern point, which is going to be an issue, which did start the bleed on us too, because the northern point is actually quite valuable in this map. But we got the bleed off. Okay, so the tank has not spawned in yet. That is an issue. The little TKS has spawned in though, so I will go back over to that one point that I spawned at, on this life and just take it. Hopefully I do not get seen by anything that can actually one-shot me. That's actually one of ours. Okay. That, however, is the 14 TP that got stolen. And yes, I'll admit it's my fault. But I'm pretty sure I can fix this. Something else I should mention that is a feature in FHSW that really does also help it stand out is the fact that they actually have armor angling modeled in. Okay, so our 7 TP is firing at the enemy 14 TP. He actually took him out. Okay, so we'll go ahead and actually cap the spawn point back from them. And that should hopefully allow us to stop them. Oh, they have an enemy tank. They have 2 tanks. Looks like it's a Panzer 38 and... and another... Ooh, 3 tanks! See, this is why this thing is actually kind of fun. Where did the other tank go? That one's ours. So is that one. Alright, so I took out both of those guys. We can now get the flag back. I'll reload. Okay, so this spawned in a Panzer II. And someone took another vehicle from the looks of things. All right. Now, this debrief here isn't really fitting for the map, but that's okay. That seems to be a common issue with FHSW. Don't worry about that, though. But anyways, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.